It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. We know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 369. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. Hello.
Hi.
I was fighting our little clock.
I know. You always fight that thing.
I do. Damn thing.
That reminds me, we need to put new batteries in the little remote in the Honda.
Yes. Brian told me yesterday, and we have the thing at Battery Plus. Where this is not a commercial, but it sounds like one. No. But yeah, I bought the remote battery at Battery Plus, and for like an extra $10, you get the lifetime. And so we just got to swing by Battery Plus and say, we need a new battery, and they put it in, and you're good to go. You're in.
Oh,
like
fantastic!
Use promo code TCO and check out, but not really. Don't
try that because it won't work.
They'll look at you like, what the hell are you talking about?
That's not a thing.
Yeah. They're like, what's a TCO? Why would you think that's a thing? That's exactly what will happen to you. So I'm glad we could take care of that during the podcast.
I know. Well, it just popped into my head, and Lord Almighty, oh, wait, you know what? I didn't start recording over here. Back to what I was going to say, which is if I don't do it the second I think of it, it doesn't happen. Like hitting record on the actual video portion. We were recording on the audio, so don't worry, we got all that.
Woof.
So
thank goodness. I don't want to lose that podcast gold. That'll go in our clip reel when we're selling this thing to Netflix. Yeah. So let's do our bingo call. So is this our last week for bingo calls?
We have 2 more weeks.
We have 2 more weeks.
So I think it's this week and next week. Let me double check. 3 more weeks. So this week, next week, the week after. Then we're done.
Okay.
And did you want to tell people?
Sure.
Okay. So the winner of this contest that has seemed never ending will be getting a Sonos Roam speaker and some miscellaneous like Peloton things that you can no longer even get.
Just things you've acquired over the years. Don't worry, they're new.
Yeah, they're new. They're new. But I've been waiting for the moment, and here it is.
Okay.
So,
and that Sonos speaker is really good. It's the same one you use
on all my workouts.
In the workout. I guess not for the tread, right? But for the bike.
I don't use it for the tread, but that's only because I can't ever remember how to quickly resync it on the Bluetooth. Like once it's done, it's no big deal. But the very first time you do it, it always requires a combination of buttons that I never can remember. I always have to look.
Gotcha.
So, but besides that, man, it's so nice, and it fills up the whole basement, and it's like a really nice sounding.
Yeah, you wouldn't
speaker.
Think it's smaller, and
so tiny.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that it would create that much noise, but boy, does it ever. So I guess while we're doing that, who is our bingo call out of the week?
Kirsten Ferguson is bingo number 1.
Okay. So our interview this week?
Our interview this week is our helper bee, Lindsey Kelly.
A helper bee spotlight.
It is. Yes. It is. Yes.
What are some of her more popular articles that she's written, if people might have read them in the past and be like, oh, it's the person who did that one?
Well, she's written almost all of the Brittany Allen fashion articles.
Okay.
She also, I would say the most popular ones are the ones that like, you might be a fan of this instructor if you do these things.
Did she do the high school one?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
sorry.
No. That was Nikki.
Sorry, Nikki.
Luckily, everyone over there gets along. We all are very nice to each other.
Thank God none of them listen.
Well, they literally provide the news. They don't need to hear it again.
They're like, I don't need to hear the guy who doesn't know anything talk about the thing I told him
But
about.
honestly, I do think Nikki listens. I don't know if they all do, but I know Nikki does. So, so you better keep it together, Tom.
Ruh-roh. So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
Okay, well, we've got some lawsuits to cover, some new stuff and some updating on some stuff. So we're going to get into all that. And then, of course, we have our interview with Lindsey. We're going to touch on Amazon days coming up. We've got store closings to update everybody about. We've also got a whole bunch of in the news from instructors. And there's going to be a ton of stuff over on the bonus episode, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
There's also a past guest update.
It's technically a dual past guest update.
That is true. I don't think we've ever had a 2-for-1 before.
I don't know that we have.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have a bunch of content updates, and we're going to talk about apparel updates. And I think that is all, because it's a packed episode.
Okay, well, before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget, we are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart. Wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. Super helpful. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Great way to stay up to date on things throughout the week. You can also do that over at Crystal's Instagram.
Can I just tell you, I just got a random email last week from a listener who had stumbled upon us after years of having the bike.
Yeah.
Loves podcasts. And he's like, I have no idea how it took me this long to find you guys. It wasn't a review, but it was like a glowing email.
Yeah.
And he was like, I love you guys. Like, that was the email.
Oh, well,
it was so nice. It was so nice.
That's very nice.
So thank you.
But yeah, that's at Clip Out Crystal on the Instagram.
Yes, it is.
You can also watch all of these over on YouTube at youtube.com/theclipout.
Once I remember to hit record.
Yes. Don't forget, you can sign up for the newsletter at theclipout.com, where you get the links to all the things that we're talking about and whatnot that comes at you. And then finally, our Patreon, patreon.com/theclipout. There's lots of just costs associated with this. And so, if you got a little extra and you don't mind helping out, we'd love to have the help. It's just $5 a month. You get bonus content. You get about another 20-25 minutes content a week in audio format, and you get ad-free episodes. You get a special link, so the episode will be entirely ad-free for you. If we get it early, you get it early, so typically you're getting it on Thursday afternoonish. And then, of course, the most important part, we like you a little bit extra.
A little bit.
So anyway, there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in court.
Peloton, we learned this week, sued a women's cycling group for using the word Peloton.
Yeah. So apparently they were forced to change their name or pay 500 euros per day after Peloton sued them. Now, this came out on July 4th. Ironic. Just, Independence Day.
Well, but they're a German group, right? Or something like that?
I thought this was England, but it's definitely not in America.
American, yeah.
Yeah, that is very true. Now, it was founded, I think you're right that it was in Germany, but it was founded in 2021 by Elke Beilart, wife of Little Track pro Jasper Stuyven. And the Women's Peloton has become a popular online resource for female-focused tech training and health. However, Peloton Interactive was not happy about it. She was very upset, as she quoted to Tour de France, the husband actually said, "It's a real shame my wife's life work gets a serious hit from this." And this is taking place in the Benelux region, where Peloton does not have registered legal rights to the term Peloton. I'm sorry, they are not in the market, but they have
licensed it, yeah.
registered legal rights because they have it throughout Europe. So my bad. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. But the thing about this is that, well, I should also say Peloton also apparently had the Peloton Divers Cycling Club change their name in 2019. So I feel a little mixed on this because on the one hand, I totally understand that a company has to go after their rights to be able to claim their name and defend their name, rather.
Yeah.
That's why Disney does it all the time. You've
Yeah.
brought that up on numerous occasions. Because even like if a preschool does something with Disney characters,
They paint Mickey Mouse on the wall, unless it's Steamboat Willie now. But unless if they paint Mickey Mouse on the wall, like you can't do that. Like you gotta pay for that.
so that makes total sense to me. On the flip side of things, what is confusing about this to me is that Peloton existed as a word, as a verb, as a noun, a noun to describe a group of people riding bikes long before the company existed.
Right.
That part confuses me.
I mean, I always thought it was weird that they picked Peloton as their name for that reason.
I mean,
Right? Like it just seems like it's setting up things like this. And I guess if this group had already existed, there's not much they can do because they would predate Peloton, the company.
well, and I think if the women's group had said like cycling, a women's Peloton group, I think they could have gotten away with it. But it's the way that they word it is like it's part of the title, like
Yeah.
it's the name. And so I think that's where
Yeah, I don't know. Like when you get into this kind of law, it's really weird. And then it's international, so it's how it
Fair.
works in a different country entirely. But like I know that there's a restaurant called The Burger King, and Burger King sued them, and they were like, but we're older than you. You stole our name, and they're still in existence, and they're allowed to call themselves the Burger King because they predate Burger King.
But I've seen people post for years. There's like bike cafes and things like that that call themselves Peloton, and they still do. So either they existed before our Peloton did, or there's something else going on there. So I'm a little surprised at that piece of it. But this woman says that she refuses to give up, and she's like, keep suing me, keep doing it, because I'm not giving it up. She's not done. She's not done fighting the battle.
Yeah.
And who knows what'll end up happening. She's probably going to have to give up the battle at some point.
But you said this started when? This group started when?
2021.
Well, and the husband's like, my wife's life work. And I'm like,
that's another thing.
It's been 18 months.
Maybe slow your roll.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2024, so it's been 3 years.
Okay, but still. Like, that's like, wait.
It probably was 18 months when Peloton sued her.
Yeah, like your life's work. I'm like, did you marry a 4-year-old? What's going on there?
My guess is what's actually going on there is she's been creating a group. She's been this person in the background gathering these people together in support of the men in the Peloton.
Yeah.
And that now that's kind of being taken. But on the other hand, she's also getting a whole lot of clicks because Peloton exists.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we know Peloton drives clicks.
For sure. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. That's what's happening. Peloton won the suit. End of discussion. What this woman decides to do from there, maybe she'll just pay fines and she's got it and she doesn't care.
500 euros a day ain't nothing, man.
That's what she said. She's like, keep doing it because I'm going to keep on going.
That's a lot of money to come up with every day. So we shall see.
We shall.
In the grand scheme of things, it's pretty rare for Peloton to sue someone. Normally, it's them getting sued.
It is.
So
in the long and rich history,
yes,
we've been covering Peloton since 2017.
Yeah.
And I have lost count of the amount of lawsuits.
I couldn't even attempt to estimate, but this is a return to form of them getting sued. They're being, although this is different, they're being sued under wiretapping law. Suddenly I feel like we should be playing the opening theme to The Sopranos.
Well, it's funny. I don't know why this is coming up now, other than the fact that I think something might have changed within the history of, like, in the lawsuit side of things.
Because this is from like a year ago.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It says that a complaint was filed on August 16th of 2023. And I remember covering this. But we didn't have very much information about it, probably because nothing had gone forward. But the person who started this complaint against Peloton, her name is Julie Jones, and she is now filing a class action lawsuit. She claims that Peloton used third-party software called Drift that was embedded in the website chat feature. Now, Drift creates transcripts of the conversations while communications are happening. Website users are not informed that Drift is intercepting the communications, and they believe that they are actually talking to a Peloton representative. Drift takes the information coming in, the conversation, interprets it, analyzes it, stores it, and then uses that data for various purposes. The full transcript of the conversation, the date and the time of the conversation began, the IP address of the visitor, the web browser that they used to access the website, the device they used, and the words they used to route the visitor to a particular Peloton representative are all connected. So this says that the original complaint alleged more violations, and the new amended complaint include alleging violations of just one statute, violations of the California Invasion of Privacy Act, which imposes both civil and criminal liability for any violation. Now, Peloton, on their part, they filed a motion to dismiss the complaint, and they argued that the facts that are in the complaint were not sufficient to state a cause of action. But Peloton also said that they should not be liable because it is a party to the initial communications, and Drift is just a tool that's allowing Peloton to record and analyze its own data, and therefore it's not a third-party eavesdropper, which I have to say was my interpretation of the entire thing.
Yeah, like you can... like in most states, and it varies from state to state, but in most states, like you only need one party consent to record a phone call, so you can record your
California is not one of those states.
Yeah, and you can, but I also think the problem that they're getting into here is that Drift is using this, I think, to like train their AI, and so they're like, well, that's a third party. Like you think you're talking to Peloton, and so you think the conversation is between you and Peloton when secretly it's between you, Peloton, and Drift. And Drift is also using this information. They're not just providing it to Peloton. They're using it to train their computers to get better at this.
Yeah.
And therefore... they're a third party.
And it says that the court did agree with that. Like that's where the court landed, that Drift is using the information to improve specifically its own AI software to continue to get better. Therefore, it's a circle. Like you said, it's not just between them and Peloton. It's also between Drift. So you can't do it. The plaintiff also asked for an injunction, probably to make Peloton stop using the software. But then they ended up withdrawing that request, and we're not exactly sure why. Like our attorneys that reviewed this could not tell exactly why. But we will see if we can dig up more for the initial, like the inevitable story that will be written about this. But that's what we have so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peloton in the news.
So the Amazon invite-only sales are currently live.
They are. Like the ability to click the link and ask to be invited.
Correct.
Is live. Now, Amazon days are going to be July 16th and 17th. So here's what you need to know if you want to be part of this. First, you have to be an Amazon Prime member. Second of all, you have to actually click the link that says invite me. And then if you are deemed worthy, you will get a link on the 16th or the 17th telling you to purchase. We do know that the sale will be $1,100 for a brand new Peloton bike original.
Okay.
That's quite a discount from $1,445.
Yeah.
So nice discount there.
Absolutely. So I guess if you're an app user and you've been thinking about...
Or you have you want a bike for your second home. I hear this all the time from people. I'm not in that situation, but it'd be cool. That'd be a problem I'd love to have.
It'd be weird for me to discover right now that you have a second home.
That would be weird.
I'd be like, well, what?
But you never know. There's a lot of people out there that could use a second one, or maybe, your mother-in-law wants one, or, something like that. So this is a great time to get one.
Absolutely. We have another store closure that was not reported, but was discovered.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one because it is believed to be the first full store that has been closed in Canada. This took place in Edmonton. And also, shortly after that, we discovered that there was also a kiosk that closed down in Canada. So the Edmonton store is closed, but also a kiosk closed about 6 months ago.
Gotcha.
As well. So
Well,
sad.
But there are also a lot fewer things that got opened in Canada.
There were. I mean, Peloton was on a real tear, opening stores left and right in the United States. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was up to like 68 and we're now down to 30. So, I mean, that's quite a reduction.
Yeah. I honestly thought it was fewer than that. I'm surprised to hear it's even 30.
Yeah,
So.
that's all that's left.
Well, this week's guest, helper Bee Lindsey, wrote a spotlight.
I have to clarify that she and helper Bee Kimberly.
Oh, man. I'm just shitting on every helper Bee that's not Lindsey this week.
Well, in your defense, Tom,
and Lord knows I need one.
It's absolutely true. But the way that our website lists things, you can't in the author thing, there's only room for one author. And so you can't put both. But it is listed in the article itself. Like if you read it, it
Gotcha.
says that they both did it. So
Okay.
I just wanted to, obviously you didn't read the article. Just throwing that out there.
Well, no.
Just throwing you under the bus.
This might shock you. I don't really care about fashion.
But the thing is I think it's just a lovely, thing that comes from working within the Clip Out, because Kimberly and Lindsey never knew each other, but they both separately love all of the fashion stuff around Peloton, and separately both have huge, they want everything by Brittany Allen. They both each want to own everything.
Well, if they ever do one about best graphic tees, I'll read that.
Okay. Well, we'll see about that.
I can help judge them.
Yeah.
Best hoodies, I'm in.
Yeah, and matching sneakers.
Yes.
But yes, they did a whole article about the best Pride fashion for Peloton. And a lot of it comes down to the most flashy, because that's what these two ladies love, and that's what gets the attention.
Yeah, for sure.
So Jess King, of course, right up there, she's the one that brought Brittany Allen to Peloton. So she was the first.
Right.
And then there was this amazing top by Olivia Amato that Olivia Amato wore by Brittany Allen. Let me be clear. Also a past guest. And Brittany Allen designed these 3D tops. They're sports bras, but the one that is my favorite is it's the blue one Olivia is wearing, and then it has 3D butterflies all over it, or 2D butterflies, I guess, since they're not actually flying off of her. And then there was also Maddie's amazing outfits, and then a bunch of different ladies and a bunch of different instructors got it for their Cher outfits, and Katie Wong, another Brittany Allen style for her camp. But yes, they did a whole thing about Marathoner and what she wore when she subbed for the missing Maddie Majacomo. So this is a great article. If you haven't had a chance to read it, I suggest that you do, because these ladies are very talented and fun, and I wish that my brain worked the way theirs did.
And the link will be in the newsletter
Of
if
course.
you get that, or if you sign up for it.
Yep.
And we got just a quick roundup of things that have gone on over the last week or so. Tobias Heinz's final goodbye.
Yeah, he posted this really super sweet video giving, I would say, a real goodbye to people. It was a longer post instead of just a quick,
I'm out.
Yeah.
Deuces.
And he also decided to do, which I thought was really cool. He did a goodbye stack, and so it was he did a Sunday stack of all of his favorite runs. So there was Motley Crue, Bruce Springsteen. It was a 2-for-1 with Jeffrey and Tobias. It was pink, and then they had a cool down and then a stretch. And so he hung out with people, and he posted on his Instagram all day during those classes. It was really nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Emma is staying on the tread.
She is, yeah. So it's not going to be a residency in the way that it was thought of. So she will be coming back and teaching more classes after she has her baby. So that'll be very cool. And I think we covered some of these last week. So
I think some of them might have been in the Patreon episode.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
So DJ John Michael has a gig coming up in Brooklyn.
Yeah. He's doing lounge sessions at the Silo, and that is taking place on July 18th. So a bunch of amazing people are going to be there. The event is free. I know space was limited, so the RSVPs might already be full. But if not, then you should get out there and get yourself a ticket if you live in the area.
Yeah. Jess King has Sweat Steady coming to the tread.
Yes, people are very excited about this because they love the Sweat Steady over on the bike, and she's bringing it over to the tread.
And then finally, Chelsea Jackson Roberts was in SG Magazine.
Yes, and she talks about what first brought her into yoga, the charity she runs with her husband, and how she brings in music like hip hop that's not commonly associated with yoga practice, and a whole bunch more.
And SG is for Singapore. We learned
That's
last
right.
week.
That's right. Good memory, Tom. You won't hear that very often.
I remember lots of things if they're pop culture related.
That's true. You do. I have to admit, that is very true.
We talked last week about the apparel sale that was going on, and it came up how so many of the items had just been released.
Yeah, like a week before that.
And we were jokingly
saying,
in air quotes, jokingly saying like, well, just send it back and buy it again.
Yeah.
And so now we've learned that they are offering adjustments.
If you ask.
But you got to ask.
You have to ask. And one of our listeners did use the chat feature. Maybe they had Drift listen to them.
And now they've been wiretapped. and there's an unmarked van sitting outside of their house. But they saved $6 on a sports bra.
No, they saved $96 on a bunch of Lululemon stuff.
Oh, that's totally worth having a van outside your house.
I think so.
Yeah.
$96? They can sit out there.
Yeah. As long as you don't need to park cars in the street.
That's true. But thank you to the listener. You know who you are, and we appreciate you.
Coming up after this, we got instructors in the news. We're going to talk about the latest Peloton instructor who is a Nike athlete. So stick around.
Instructors in the news.
Rad Lopez is now a Nike athlete, or if you prefer, Nike athlete.
I felt like you could just really see the excitement in his reel that he did about this. He was like, finally, I did it. Like, this is something that he has been working on for a while. And he's also been talking about new stuff coming. And so I think that this really showed his excitement. And I love seeing that whenever the people get excited.
That's certainly like you've made it to a certain level if somebody like Nike starts throwing money at you.
Absolutely. Like it's a huge honor. So that is very exciting.
And he's been slugging it out for a while. Like we see him pop up on like the Brooklyn news channels and stuff. So like he loves to get out there and do that stuff when he can. So
it's so interesting because he's one of the more private instructors.
Yeah.
He has a broadcast channel on Instagram and he's pretty darn active. I'd say he's probably the instructor that posts the most besides Callie on the broadcast channels. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't post a lot on his Instagram about personal things, and a lot of the instructors do. And I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying he approaches social media very differently.
Right.
I don't know if that has an effect on how long these things take or not. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He also had an Instagram post.
He did. It was very interesting.
Yes, go on.
Okay, so he posted, this is, like I said, he's been saying new things are coming. So there's some conjecture happening here. But he's been saying to people on Instagram, on his broadcast channel, hey, what do you guys want to see from me next? And then all of a sudden last week, out of the blue, he just posted on his story, one story, and it was a close-up of him on a Peloton bike.
Interesting.
What does that mean? We don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe nothing. Maybe
everything.
Maybe he'll be a new bike instructor.
Yeah.
They are down a bike instructor.
Yeah.
He's not stretched across as many disciplines as some others.
Maybe he could learn German.
So we shall see.
So this story broke right as we were sitting down to record.
It did.
Bex Gentry is doing the Great World Race. You explain it.
Okay. It is 7 marathons, 7 days, 7 continents. I have seen this for years, and I have been like, wow. Like, I just think this is the most amazing thing. So
have we had somebody on that did that? I thought we did.
Not in 7
days?
Maybe it was in 7 days, or maybe somebody just told us about that they wanted to do it.
Gotcha.
Because I know we talked to one of our guests who had done 7 all 7 continents.
Right.
And I think this was on their bucket list to do. But part of what makes it tricky is that, like, so this takes place November 15th. That's when it starts for Bex.
Right.
And when they go to Antarctica, it like leaves from South America, and the boat does, or the plane does. And whenever it leaves, it's like, you don't know, there's like a 24 to 48 hour window.
Right.
And you don't know when they're leaving, because it's just going to depend on
the weather conditions.
weather.
And so it's like, Antarctica is really hard to pull off, because you're kind of threading a needle from a weather standpoint.
Yeah. And so if that weather window doesn't cooperate during that 7 days, you're kind of SOL.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm kind of conflating these two.
The weather doesn't work, then you do the second greatest world race.
Oh God. Yes.
Which is 6 continents
in like 7 days.
In like 8 days.
but actually, I think that I'm conflating this with the recent guest that we had that was telling us about his trip to Antarctica.
Yeah.
I don't think the one that takes place in 7 days, I don't think there's a 2-day window involved, because what I'm pretty sure they do with this one is they start in Antarctica.
Right.
You don't start the race until that one starts. So there might still be a window, but you do that one first, and then you go around the world and do the rest of them. Either way, that's a lot of miles in one week.
Yeah.
Now, if anybody can do it, Bex can. She's a badass.
Yeah.
And this is what she's been talking about. Like, she's been saying, I had something big coming. I've never done anything like this before. And now she's announced it. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about it. If I was a much better runner than I am, this would totally be on my list.
God, I know how much stress you put yourself under for one marathon. I can't imagine doing 7 in 7 days, and then
I can't.
The travel aspect as well.
I'm too slow. Like,
Yeah.
I just can't. I couldn't do it. But I mean, Bex makes a marathon look like a Sunday afternoon stroll for most people.
For sure.
So, I mean, I know that she still has to do a lot of training, but I have absolutely zero doubt that she will kill it. Like, she will kill it. And I'm so excited for her. This is a huge deal. And it makes sense why she had to go get her brand new Garmin that she just got from Garmin. She's sponsored by Garmin now.
One that works in Antarctica.
And you need a really long battery. You cannot be using an Apple Watch for that shit.
Yeah.
Much as I love my Apple Watch now, there's no way it could handle the battery of all that.
Right.
Like, it's got to be constantly charged for 7 days. And a Garmin lasts way longer. So.
Joslyn Thompson Rule making her strength debut.
Yes. Starting on July 19th, she is going to be starting a new collection, Strength Basics, and she's going to be starting out with Maddie Magiacomo.
Heard of
They're
her.
going to be 10-minute classes, and they're all going to be made to break down foundational moves that are going to help you perfect your form, whether you're an experienced lifter or a newbie. Do you think maybe this is like the start of what is coming for those bigger lifts and things with the barbells we've been talking about for weeks now?
Well, as we talked about recently, it does seem like they have data that people love strength. And so, like, I think it feels like they're leaning into that one way or the other.
It definitely does. And it makes sense when you start seeing them say, we're leaning into something that's talking about foundational moves. Like, if you can't lift heavy, if you don't know how to lift correctly,
Right.
you will hurt yourself.
Well, you can do it, but like once.
Yeah, that's why I say you will hurt yourself. So that's very exciting. So congrats to Joslyn.
Susie Chan was featured prominently on the BBC. That's a big deal.
It's super cool. It's super cool. She talked about her love of running came later in life, 35, if you were wondering, and how it's helped her through some of her toughest moments. By the way, I just have to say I have started her book now. It is out in America on August 8th, but
you got an advanced copy.
Yes, I did. Susie was kind enough to ask her publishing company to send me a copy. It's August 6th, not the 8th. And she sent it over, and I got it this week, and I've already started it, and it's so good. Like, the prologue is good. I'm so stoked for this. Like, I'm in. So,
Okay.
love Susie.
Peloton artist collaborations.
Possibly the worst kept artist series secrets of all time. Taylor Swift's Tortured Poets Department. Or if you're really exact, Taylor Swift's The tortured poets department. It's weird to say the there.
It is. the there.
Yes. There was a band called The.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I remember that. That was in the 80s, right?
It was the age of 90s, but
Okay.
like alt rock.
Yeah.
Look how weird we are.
That's cute.
You have a T-shirt on with a picture of a baby dragon goat.
Yeah. Well, there is a whole story behind that.
But you're not weird?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
You are for giving it to me. And that's all we're going to say about that.
You're wearing it.
Because it's cute. I still have baby goat. Baby dragon goat. And I love baby goats and baby dragons. So.
And you love dragons and goats doing it.
Anyway, so yeah, we've been talking about.
People are like, that took a turn.
So back to Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
This.
What's her opinion? What's her stance on
Oh my God.
goat dragon sex?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Someone shoot her a DM.
Yeah, just real quick.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll answer. One of her people will answer. So anyway, we've been talking about this this TDPD class that took place that Robin taught. That was all on the DL, and they invited a bunch of Swiftie fans. So what we've been waiting to hear is, are we going to see a bunch of other classes? I really thought for sure that we would, but then they still hadn't announced it, and I knew it was coming this week, so I started to really second guess myself. And so then we thought maybe it was that other one, the Antoff guy.
Right, because he writes so much with her.
Yeah, but finally, Peloton released this week that there are going to be a whole bunch of classes dropping on the 11th and the 12th. There's going to be a bar class with Allie, an outdoor walk with Susie. Yes. 2-for-1 yoga with Anna Greenberg and Aditi Shaw. There's going to be a 30-minute ride with Robin, which we already knew about. And then there's going to be a run with Olivia. Yes. And then a ride in German with Charlotte, and a run in German with Jeffrey. So a lot of great classes. Now, people are also already clamoring for more. There was no row listed there, you might note. There was no strength listed there, you might note. Mm-hmm. So maybe, perhaps, we will still see some things drop. I don't know, but that's what people are hoping. I think this might be all we're getting, though.
Gotcha.
So I'm excited.
Well, she loves to do her secret surprise drops.
She does.
Maybe one will just show up.
She does. You just never know. And of course, our writers had lots of Taylor Swift puns to add without. And when I say, I mean, Nikki did, because she's really good with that. I forget about doing things like that. So fun.
Coming up after this, we got a past guest update, and we'll hit the TCO top 5. So sit tight.
Past guest update.
So the image on your screen says that John Foley sold his Manhattan townhouse. I have corrected that for our purposes to say John and Jill Foley have sold their Manhattan townhouse, because this is what a feminist looks like.
Well, thank you. And that is why you also said earlier, 2 past guest updates.
Right.
Both of the Foleys have been on the podcast at different times. And
quite possibly the only podcast that can make that claim.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it actually is. Yeah, I think you're right. So I miss the Foleys. I really do. Man, those were the days. But yeah.
It was bad when you're like, the good old days when shares were $12.
You're not wrong. So yeah, they sold their Manhattan townhouse for $35.5 million. They bought this townhouse from David Yurman, who's that celebrity jewelry designer.
I didn't know there was such a thing, but go on.
In New York, there is, in the city. Yeah. But they bought it back in 2018 for $15.5 million. So they made a tidy little profit.
Unlike the Hamptons.
Yeah,
they made money on this deal. But you typically will make money on real estate if you own it for more than 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. The
I think it was like
house
4
was
months.
A special circumstance. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, It looks like it's beautiful.
Oh my God,
It's
it does.
the townhouse that they used where Harrison Ford's character lived in Working Girl.
Yeah, and I don't remember enough of that movie to like picture it.
remember
I see this picture in the
Everything
thing.
looked nice.
I mean, yeah, like it's one of those townhouses that does
Yeah.
the thing, like, you know, has the.
You're making hand gestures. I don't know what they mean.
Because it like has the
bay windows?
The bay windows.
Yeah.
And like every neighborhood in every city that you ever see those in,
Yeah.
whether it's Chicago, New York, etc., they're always freaking so expensive.
Right.
Every city, because we always look, because I always like them.
You're like, oh, that's neat. And then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, well, we will never live there.
We can't afford
Yeah.
that.
Maybe we live like 40 blocks away and walk by sometimes.
Yeah, that might work. But yeah, it's beautiful. So you can check it out on the Google Maps because the address is right there. So, but congrats, I guess, to them. By the way, 5,800 square feet of living space.
Wow. In
Yeah.
Manhattan, that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot anywhere.
It is a lot anywhere.
I mean, we have a big house, and that's like double our house.
Yeah.
And
in Manhattan.
in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope wherever they go, I hope they're just as happy.
New content.
Okay, before we forget, let's do our second bingo call out of the week.
Bingo number 2, going for that Bose speaker, Irene Kamer.
Okay, there you go. Have at it, folks. Mm-hmm. It is time for the TCO Top 5, where we ask you to tell us what to do. And then we tell you what to do in return, unless you're one of the people who told us what to do, in which case you've already done it.
Oh, this could take a while.
One day I'll have a quick way to do this.
No, you won't.
Probably not, so.
We've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. Number 1, your favorite row.
This is an endurance row, a 30-minute endurance row with Alex Kurwoski, and it aired on July 3rd. And now, Sue Celester, I think it's Sue Celester, it's SS Lester, recommended this class, not just because of the workout, but also the purpose behind it, because it was dedicated to all parents and caregivers. She said that she may have teared up at one point, and the music was great. So that was really cool. That's neat.
Awesome.
I haven't taken a row in a while. I need a row.
Yeah, blow the dust off that thing.
I know.
It's starting to look like an elliptical.
That's not true. That is not true.
Number 2, favorite run.
Okay, so we're going back in the archives for a couple of these. This first one goes all the way back to July 4th of 2019.
So I'm just going to jump in here and say this must be a good one because 5 years old, it's survived multiple purges.
Well, it is the all for one. It is where all of the tread instructors who were tread instructors back in 2019
Right.
were in it. In fact, this is the last class in existence that shows little Oliver Lee.
Oh.
See, if you look at this picture, he's
Yeah.
over in the left right there.
I see that.
But it's so cool to see these instructors. I can't believe how much they've changed just in 5 years.
I didn't know any of the Oliver Lee stuff
It's
survived.
the only thing.
Wow.
And I think the only reason it's still on there is because all the other instructors were part of it.
Right.
And they didn't feel that was fair.
Yeah.
But Better Netter loved this run. And for those who are always nostalgic for the good old days, this one's for you. She says, this run was before I was a member. It's fun seeing the old studio and some instructors who were gone. I love the constant rotation of instructors and their banter. It made for an easy, fun run. I remember this one. We took it in a hotel. I took it in a hotel.
We didn't do anything.
Yeah. I don't even remember where we were, but I remember taking this in a hotel, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun. It's a great run.
I'm trying to think. July 4th of 2019.
Were we in Branson?
Was that a Branson year? I don't think so.
I don't know.
That was longer ago than that.
I can't keep track.
Yeah.
We'll have to go to the Facebook memories.
Yes, it will remind us, but not until next year now.
Yeah, it's true.
Number 3, favorite holiday ride.
Okay, so from this year's collection of classes, it was a 30-minute 4th of July ride that Emma Lovewell did, and Kimberly Ray Jessup said that she loved it. Emma's 4th of July ride closely followed by her Canada Day pop ride. And she said both of them had fun playlist and good energy from a very pregnant Emma. And it also included lifeguard stories and pics on Insta.
4, favorite low impact ride.
Okay, this is another one we're going back in the archive for.
Okay.
Matt Wilper's October 2nd of 2021. low impact ride. Karen Smith said she pulled the ride from the archives and was not disappointed. Matt Wilper's low impact ride from 10-21 was so good as a recovery ride. He focused the entire class on technique, working on forms and drills. And if you're looking for a good recovery ride with some fun drills, this is it.
And finally, number 5, you're unstackable.
Okay, so on June 30th, Rebecca subbed for Andy's strength class.
Okay.
This was a 60-minute full body strength, and Connie's Life Choices picked this class as her favorite, but also her unstackable. She said that she did not give the Sunday morning workout crew any break. It was an amazing class, and it was very well structured. It flew by, and boy, was it tough. That's awesome. Lots of leg work.
Now let's take a look at this week at Peloton. We've got Flow and Stretch with Anna and Rad. I don't know if you know this. He's a Nike athlete.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, this week we are going to have a flow with Anna, and Rad is going to be teaching a stretch class in Spanish. He's also going to be having a 5-minute upper body warm-up also in Spanish, and both are going to be dropping on July 10th. And so then there's a strength warm-up class that's going to be ready to go as well.
We've got Disney Magic with John and Sam.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one because Peloton always posts these and they say this week at Peloton, but they posted one for next week and we're all confused. So the dates on it say July 16th is when they're dropping.
Right.
And there's going to be 2 Disney classes, one with John Hosking as a walk and one as a ride with Sam. So they're both Disney themed classes, and I'm definitely looking forward to them, but I'm still confused. 2000s Disney songs.
Okay.
So we'll see what that's about.
And also we have Grooving to Gospel with Cliff.
Yes. And so we have talked about before that Cliff has these gloriously gospel classes that he's been doing, but it is officially a collection where now you can find all of the classes in one place. So that's fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Rebecca Kennedy has a 3-day split coming at you.
Yeah, it's going to start on July 26th, and it's going to be 3 days. It's going to be an intermediate split. It's going to leverage heavier weights. I feel like that's important.
Yeah.
And it's going to target specific areas of the body to increase strength and build muscle.
We also have a new Greatest Hits collection.
Yeah. Now, Peloton alluded to this when they did their press release the other day when they were like, by the way, we're no longer going to have classes on Wednesday. Okay. And they were like, and check out our new Greatest Hits collection. But I thought that was the same collections as like the instructors that just left because they did Greatest Hits from each of those instructors. But now they have a Greatest Hits of All Time collection. So my question is this: how can you title that Greatest Hits of All Time unless you started putting stuff back on this platform from way back in the day? Because there are some classics that were literally the best classes that Peloton has ever done, and we will, as long as I know, never see the light of day again.
Right.
So I don't know.
Maybe their metric is like, these are some of the most popular classes of all time. But
Well,
if that was the
you
case, it would be like all turkey burns.
And you would think, right? But one of our tipsters did a little digging and comparison, and no, these are not all the most popular classes. You can quickly see when you pull these up. I mean, there are definitely some on there that are way up at the top, but
Sure.
there are also some that are not. So I have no idea how these were chosen, but I am curious. I would love to have a conversation with somebody.
I would also be interested to know, because we've established over the years that instructors do get bonuses based on how many people take a class.
We sure have.
So like, you got to think, if you're getting spotlighted in one of these, that would goose your numbers.
And are they, I haven't even looked at the collection. A question that makes me ask in return to that, what you just said, is there a class for every instructor that's on the platform?
Right.
That would be a logical question. I don't know. I didn't look.
Right.
But I think that's a fair question.
Yeah.
If they still structure bonuses that way. It's been several years since we've heard that. They hold that kind of stuff a lot closer
For sure.
to the vest than they used to.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why.
Maybe that's why some people are leaving. We're taking those bonuses. And coming up after this, I probably should stop talking now.
Yeah, you should.
we have our interview of the week with helper Bee Lindsey. So stick around.
Checking out the competition.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Lindsey Kelly, but you know her as helper Bee Lindsey.
Well, you might know her for many different reasons.
Nope.
No, that's the only one,
That's
Tom?
the only one that's allowed.
Welcome, Lindsey. We are very happy to have you here today.
Thank you. How are y'all doing?
Good. And we also have to start by saying happy birthday, because it's your birthday today. She shares a birthday with
it worked out pretty well.
Yes.
She shares a birthday with America.
With America.
I do. I am 47 today. So.
Well, you look amazing. 47.
Thanks.
You don't look like 47. So keep up the great work.
I'm pretty comfortable with the whole age part of it.
Good. That's good.
It's always refreshing when people don't feel like they have to hide their age.
I agree.
Like, not
Yeah.
judging people that do, but like, you shouldn't have to feel that way, right? Like, it's going to be what it's going to be.
I'd like to think that the world is getting better about that, that women feel more comfortable, but also that people are more supportive too. That
Yeah.
that it's not like a raised eyebrow look when somebody gives their age, you know?
People are, and I'm in a good place right now, so that's helpful.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't mind telling people I'm 39.
Right.
Like Jack Benny.
Sure, Tom. Sure. Okay,
With
Lindsey.
39.
You're 39 too. So how did you originally find Peloton?
So it was 2020. A few things happened in 2020. People were talking about Peloton in 2020. I was home a lot in 2020. I decided I needed to get in shape, and I went down a few paths before I got to Peloton. Eventually, after a couple of false starts trying to get exercise equipment from a variety of places orders kept getting canceled at the time.
Oh.
My husband said, "You've been talking about a Peloton. Why don't you just go ahead and order it and wait for one?" I did have to. I think I had to wait about 2 months for it to come.
Okay. So you were probably like May or June of 2020, something like that.
I think I ordered it in August and it came in October.
Okay.
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 But
I think before that, I had ordered an elliptical and it got canceled. And I think some other brand of bike, both from Costco, and Costco kept canceling my orders.
it's funny because, like, the take at the time was like, oh, Peloton supply chain is so awful. And then, like, yes, it was slow, but here you are trying to buy non-Peloton things and you're not getting them
Right.
at all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very
Right.
good point.
Nobody told
And
that
that's-
story.
Yeah.
I remember when I think it was 2021, but we had to order a dishwasher and it turned
Oh my
into
God.
a whole
Our
thing.
own private Vietnam.
It did. Yeah. Months.
We lived without an oven for about 4 months at one point.
Oh, that's I
Same
don't.
reason.
Oh my gosh, those were crazy
Not
times.
good.
Yeah.
So when you say false starts, were you finding other ways to be active? Like, was being active new for you? Like, give us a little bit of background on how that happened.
So I've had periods of my life where I've worked out more, worked out less, been in better shape, been in worse shape. During 2020, it was not one of my good times. The good news is I was outside a lot because that's pretty much all there was to do is walk my dogs. That was before this dog, but all there was to do was walk the dogs. So I was outside walking the dogs a lot. I was working from home. We were all working from home. And my company had a branch location not far from me that I could walk to do certain things. So I would walk to kind of a mini version of work once in a while. So at least I was outside. And somewhere around like June or July, I'm like, I really need to do something. It was bad. I was not in good shape. I was eating a lot. I was drinking a lot. I was moving around. But when you're home, there's not much else to do but eat and drink, I guess. Watch TV. I watch TV. So I tried a few things. There was walking. I tried other exercise equipment. I did about a month something called Camp Gladiator, which was workouts over Zoom. And then my Peloton finally came in around October. I would say I got really serious about it in January, though.
Yeah. So was it because, did it take from October to January for you to get serious because you weren't immediately in love with the workouts, or was it like you had to kind of ease in from the amount of time you spent?
I had to ease in. I was in really poor shape at the time. It was very hard. I started with beginner rides. I had not really done a lot of spinning before. I had tried it once or twice in my life. So it was kind of a little bit of a leap of faith. And I did it because I was like, people really like this. They get very excited about it. They stick with it. I see people getting in good shape doing this. So I started with very, very easy workouts. And I think it was around New Year's that I was like, okay, I'm really going to push on this. And I started using it a whole lot at that point.
Okay. Now, my understanding is there was a bit of a weight loss journey, but I'm not sure where the timeline starts here. So tell me about that.
I was at my heaviest around July, August of 20. I weighed about 210 pounds.
Okay.
I'm 5'2". So, up and down. I never was super insecure about it really, but I just couldn't move around all that well. I didn't feel good. When I started working out pretty heavily early 2021, I changed my eating habits and I stopped drinking at the same time. By the end, it was all in 2021 pretty much, beginning and by the end of 2021, I leveled out at about 125, and that's where I've been ever since.
Wow.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. That's a big change. Now I know when I lost weight. Say that again. I'm sorry.
It was a lot of working out, and I changed quite a bit what I was eating.
Yeah.
So.
Did you have that disconnect when you lost the weight though? When you look in the mirror, did it take a while for you to believe this is what I look like now? I always have that like disconnect.
I don't think I did because it felt gradual to me. I went back to work though in June of 2021 to the office after being out for a month and a year and a couple of months. And I got rather an interesting reaction when I went back to work. There were several people who like legitimately didn't know who I was.
I believe that. I saw your before and after. You look like a different person. You do. You look like a different person. Everybody carries their weight differently. And I think that particularly the way that your face is so thin and defined, I think that has a big change because people recognize people from their body shape but also from their face, and your face looks so different that I could see that would be a different. I feel like that's a sign that you did really good when people are like, I have no idea who you are. You did amazing.
At some point in there I started wearing my hair curly too, so maybe that made a difference.
Oh, I'm sure.
I actually really noticed that when I was looking at pictures I sent you last night. I was like, my hair was straight back then. And it must have been somewhere in there I started wearing it like this.
And I'm sure it's a combination of things if you think, because like your face looks different, your body looks different, your hair is different. Yeah. Like that's a lot of different things to throw at people that haven't seen you for a year and a half.
And you feel better. You probably move differently.
I felt better, and I think I moved differently probably.
And you probably had a different level of confidence in how you spoke to people.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much. I speak pretty confidently at work anyway, but I think I wasn't used to feeling like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't used to that reaction, but.
So nobody was like, or did people come to you and they were like, who are you?
I had a little bit of that. I had a lot of people asking me what I did, and I would say Peloton. I would say I don't drink anymore. And then people would see the fact that pretty much every day in the lunchroom at work, I made these giant salads. I started doing that during COVID, probably right around the same time around New Year's. I got in this habit of every day I'd take out all my ingredients, had big giant salads, and very elaborate, like not simple salads, lots of stuff. Salads are good if they have a lot of things on them, and I can go into great depth on that, but I brought it to work with me. I had a cabinet, and I still do. This is now, 3 years later. I have a cabinet full of like toppings and little packets of chicken and a little mini fridge with like 5 different dressings and like different types of crumbly cheeses and nuts and seeds and crunchy toppings. And the only thing I really have to do is bring in fresh kale every few days.
Yeah.
And people would see me in the lunchroom, like cutting up my kale. So I was a little self-conscious about that at first, but now it's like, oh yeah, she's the salad girl.
It is weird. I changed how I did lunch at work, and it's like I had done the same lunch for the entirety of the time. I've worked at the same place for almost 18 years, and so
wow.
I had done the same lunch every day for 12, 13 years, and it was funny. I never used the microwave ever. And so the first time I went to use the microwave, like everybody starts walking by my office like, What is going on that you don't use the microwave?
I don't know how to use the microwave at work. One of them I think is haunted. It makes really frightening noises. I'm in a different office now, same company. I've shifted offices since then, and I don't even have a clue how to use the one near my new office. Haven't touched it.
It's
but I'm
funny.
in a place where I forgot to sell it.
It's funny how long a workplace will hold on to a microwave, and when they're like $90,
Right?
They're not an expensive piece of equipment anymore, and it's but you will have the oldest, jankiest,
The kind with the dial up still.
Yeah.
That they got the dial.
It's haunted. You could hear it groaning from across the kitchen.
Ours, we finally got a new one. Ours was literally throwing off sparks before someone finally was like,
okay,
I guess let's get a new one.
Oh my God.
That's potential liability.
Yeah.
See, that's from an attorney right there.
Yeah. We're
nice.
government. They don't care.
They need to listen to their attorneys get safe microwaves.
Now, when you talk about all these changes you made, including not drinking anymore, now that it's been almost 4 years, how do you feel about that? Do you miss any of those different behaviors that you do? Do you just nope, don't miss any of it? Tell us where that is for you.
For probably during the time I was actively losing weight, I stopped eating most junk food. I eat junk food again. I ate key lime pie for breakfast this morning. My daughter made it for me. It was delicious. As long as I eat a lot of protein and a lot of kale, which is my favorite form of green, I feel good, and I seem to stay about this size. I don't track super closely. I just concentrate on getting a lot of protein, a lot of fiber, a lot of green stuff, and then I eat the other things I want. I'm still super active, especially with Peloton, and I haven't had alcohol since then, and I don't plan to. I wound up with more Peloton equipment, and I stay pretty busy with that.
So what else did you get?
I have a Tread Plus.
Okay.
I got the Tread Plus right before the recall, a week before. I have a row, I have a guide, and I have a pretty big weight set. I lift a lot of weights these days.
So
they're not all Peloton weights.
That's okay. They still weigh the same amount.
They do.
So
they do.
They accomplish the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got a full boat.
She's got the full suite.
You got everything.
I do.
Everything they make.
And you do all the things too.
Able to row much lately. I had carpal tunnel surgery. I can't do much with my right hand. I'm looking forward to getting back to that. It's been a little while.
Yeah. I know that's hard for a person who's super active to suddenly have to change how active they are.
You would know that, wouldn't you?
I would.
I'm back with the weights. I've got to be a little bit careful with my right hand, but I'm back being able to lift weights in most ways.
So you had carpal tunnel syndrome. She had car hit syndrome.
It's a whole different car thing.
Yes.
I'm glad.
You did not get to plan that. I planned this.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that was not on my things to do for February 5th of last year.
Yeah, hopefully you
plan.
didn't plan that. That would be weird.
No.
Okay.
Although the police did ask me. They were like, "Are you okay?"
Oh, did you jump in front
They
of the
did.
car?
I mean, I think it's a question you have to
probably
ask.
like a mandatory question.
Absolutely. Like it's fair.
Whenever you check into the hospital, they're like, is anyone beating you?
It's so funny because I'm
to.
like so logical that I'm like, do you really think I would take a brand new Beyond Yoga outfit and then jump in front of a car? Like, come on.
Go out looking
That would
good.
be practical.
Yeah. It would not be practical. Okay, so when you have all these different things that you do at home, are you taking yoga? Do you do Pilates? Do you get into all of the things that Peloton has to offer? And do you have favorites?
I have tried just about everything. I am not a Pilates fan. It's just not my thing. I do a lot of yoga. Do a lot of yoga. These days I do a whole lot of strength. I do total strength 60 every week. I absolutely love it. I ride. I do not run on the treadmill much. My knees aren't great. I walk. I do hills. I jog a little bit. Yeah, I do just about all that. I don't love boot camps either. I kind of like to do either strength or cardio. I'm not big into combining them. I've tried them. just not really my thing. I like dance cardio. I am not a good dancer, but I really like dance cardio.
I'm surprised if you don't feel like you're a good dancer, you like it, because you're a type A personality. I know that you are because I work with you. And like type A's typically are very much perfectionists. So how do you enjoy it if you don't feel like you're good at it?
I don't let anyone watch me except for sometimes my children, and this dog will watch me. The one who's right here. People don't watch me, and it is fun, and the music is good, and I pretty much everyone who teaches dance cardio are among my favorites. I don't love HIIT cardio. HIIT cardio will kill me. I did a floor boot camp program, and it like I love Jess and Selena, but like just no, don't like the HIIT.
Too many things like burpees
like
in the
to
mix.
dance.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't like burpees. I have a sister who is like obsessed with HIIT cardio, Peloton HIIT cardio. It is just not my thing.
Oh, do you and your sister work out together on Peloton? Do you guys?
Once in a while.
Yeah, that's fun.
Once in a while. She'll come here and lift weights.
Aw, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So do you ever get in the middle of a workout and something happens and you're like, oh, this needs to be an article? You have to stop.
Yes.
Take notes.
And you know, when I write, it's usually about like weird things that happen to me and how it kind of ties into Peloton. So
I love the way your brain works.
One of my kids works out with me too. So
That's awesome. I always am so fascinated by the fact that you are so type A and logical and like have this logical brain. But then on the other hand, you have this super creative brain that comes up with stuff that I could never think of in a million years. And I am just fascinated by the two halves of your brain and the way they work together. It's
Yeah, you're not allowed to have both. It's kind
and
of
she
rude.
does. She does. It's so cool.
people, I'm left-brained. I'm pretty left-brained. I just kind of ramble in a lot of different directions. ADHD, like everywhere.
It works for you, though. It works really well.
It does.
Yeah.
So do you have an article you've written that you're the proudest or most excited about?
Ooh. Oh, I like that question. I was really proud of the one I wrote about Sam Yo being the first Thai actor to play the king.
Uh-huh.
I really enjoyed doing that. I like doing like these long completionist reviews. Right now I'm doing every Beyonce class where I kind of give random facts about every workout. And I really liked doing the Brittany Allen top 10 at the end of last year.
Yeah.
I'm a little obsessed with Brittany Allen.
Yeah, a little bit. I love
bit.
I love that you and Kimberly get off on your tangents about clothing.
I love it.
I love it. It's fabulous.
It's
Yeah.
my aesthetic. I like color. I like glitter. I like unicorns. I like rainbows. And
So is there anything you've wanted to write that Crystal won't let you write? Putting her on the spot.
no, I don't think so.
Oh, damn it.
Not yet.
I-
should think about that, though. What do you think I should write that Crystal will not let me get away with?
Oh dear.
Oh, wow.
I feel like you'll have an idea, Tom. Think on it.
If anybody could, it would be Tom.
Well, we did have my April 4th article idea, or April 1st.
That's right. Like nobody was a big fan of that. Do you remember he was going to do the April 1st? It was what the new content that Peloton had, and everybody was kind of like, "How about we go this other direction instead, Tom?"
I vaguely recall this, yes.
I don't know. We should say it here in case we want to use it next
I
year.
know. Let's just say it was not G-rated.
No. Well, it was from me, so
Yes.
Exactly.
people assumed
Exactly.
that it was
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
That's but I love your articles, and I love that you bring such a breath of fresh air to all of the different topics that we talk about. I'm curious if when you write an article you ever regret it, like when you're doing like a deep dive on a Beyonce class or something like that you're just like, oh my God, I wish I had not done X. Like I wish I had not gotten in the middle of this one.
When I was not feeling well last week after I had my carpal tunnel surgery, I'm like, wow, there are a lot of Beyonce classes. But aside from that, every so often I take on something, I'm like, wow, this is really elaborate or a lot. But fortunately, you are very patient with me.
Oh,
Take my time, and I generally get through it.
yeah. Well,
But no, not really.
okay.
So you had carpal tunnel
Once
surgery.
in a while.
You had carpal tunnel surgery last week, and you're
Look at
not
her. She's like,
in a
you wouldn't
thing?
even know she had
You're not
it.
in a
It was
thing?
about 2 weeks ago now at this point, but yeah.
I thought it had to be all trussed up a lot. I worked at a grocery store for like a decade, so people were getting carpal tunnel syndrome left and or right.
Maybe carpal tunnel technology has gotten better. since
Hey, that's true.
Fair. That
I'm
was a long
guessing
time
it's
ago.
probably been a little while since you worked in a grocery store.
Yes. thankfully. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's been at the.
Technology's improved.
Yeah, it probably has.
that
that
makes
makes a
sense.
lot of
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. But
yeah.
still, it is crazy that you're just like, I have nothing on my hand. I mean, it took me longer than that to get out of my brace for my.
Actually, I keep showing there's a big old
Oh, I see. Barely
I see it
it.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
scar.
Yeah.
And it's still pretty range of motion limiting. I can't handwrite
Oh.
right now. I enjoy writing things by hand. I can type font. I cannot use strings like big and crazy right now. I cannot do it.
Well,
There was a whole like 3 days where I had to brush my teeth with two hands. That was
Oh,
very
wow.
strange.
Yeah, that would be weird.
It's hard to brush your teeth with your left hand, but I couldn't hold the weight of the toothbrush with my right hand, so I had to use both.
Well, they say to brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand because it like helps keep your brain fresh.
creativity helps give creativity.
My brain gets exercise, probably.
I can attest to that.
It's not a problem. Here,
She's
I'm
very
good.
creative.
I'm going to brush my teeth the way I want to brush my
Toothbrush
teeth.
tricks.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Peloton instructor?
So I knew you were going to ask this, and I thought it through. I love so many of them. My very first love when I was getting started was Jess King. She's like a fantasy creature out of a. She's like a cryptid. She comes out of the sky in a cloud of sparkles and rainbows, and she says deep, profound, and sometimes not understandable things. And when I started, that is what I needed in my life. I needed something to focus on. I needed somebody to give me just like these profound motivational things that only made a little sense. And it just spoke to me, and it was wonderful. I do still ride with her. I love her on the treadmill. So I love Jess. Right now, probably the folks I ride with most are Sam Yo, who I adore. You don't know how hard you're working, and then you just kind of die. Plus, he seems so sweet. And Mila, learning Spanish, and I have been taking a lot of rides in Spanish. I like her on the tread too, where I have the subtitles and I listen to her. So I listen and I read, and I get a little bit of extra at the same time.
Wait, did you say
So I
Mila
love
or
Camila.
Mariana?
Camila.
Camila.
Ramon.
Oh, okay. It broke up just a little bit. And I was like, wait a second. You said, because I heard Mila and I was going German. And then you said Spanish. And I was like, wait, Mariana. So Camila, that makes a lot of sense.
Camila
Yeah.
Ramon. I absolutely love Camila. I tread and bike. Also on the tread, I love Maddie. I adore Maddie Giacomo. I row, so I always love Matt Wilpers. I love Adrian. Katie is probably my favorite row instructor. I wrote someone down for every discipline. Chelsea for yoga.
Yeah.
I love Chelsea.
Yeah, I do too.
She has a flow I've done 20 times. My favorite of all time, the New Jack Swing flow.
She's also, I've never heard of that one, but she's just so accessible. She makes everything feel like anybody, whatever your level is, you can do yoga. And I love that about her.
She's like the friend talking in your ear. And she just seems so kind. And I do a lot of strength, and mostly with Andy. And I had to warm up to Andy. I didn't get him at first. I think a lot of people experienced that with Andy, and it was actually right when he started dating Rebecca. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, wait, I get what he's doing now. Because they make more sense together than they do apart to me.
They do.
And now my 14-year-old and sometimes my 15-year-old do total strength 60 just about every week.
That's awesome.
And we make fun of him. We have nicknames for him. We quote him, but we keep coming back.
Sometimes if somebody has the right partner, then you're like, well, then I like the partner, so they must be okay. It's how I coast through on so many things. They're like, I'm not sure about this guy, but I guess if Crystal likes him, he must be okay.
This seems possible, actually. It is with Andy and Rebecca, I can tell you that, because she seems a little more sane, but they make sense together. My thing is always, I am waiting for them to ask to be the flower girl at the wedding. They haven't asked me yet. I'm holding out a little bit of hope, but it better be spectacular and sparkly.
I'm sure it will. I'm
Counting on it.
I just hope it's not a week long. You know, I don't have a lot of patience for that. But other than that,
I need
hope
like a Brittany Allen custom wedding gown and custom wedding gown, maybe for Andy too. I'm not even sure.
yeah, they could have like a Brittany Allen themed ceremony, and then they could have a regular ceremony if she needs to have just the sparkle, just the shine. You know, maybe two.
Flies.
Yeah.
I am counting on them blowing me away with this one. So
Okay.
So what is your leaderboard name?
Unicorn Lindsey.
You kind of had to see that coming a little bit.
Yeah,
That's right. So do you have any advice for people just now entering the world of Peloton?
So one of my best friends just got a Peloton. And I have been having so much fun saying to her, okay, what mood are you in? Let me pick you a class. Let me pick you an instructor. Let me introduce you to this. And the very first one she said, it's Pride Month. I'm feeling flamboyant. I'm like, okay, this is Cody. This is DJ John Michael next to Cody. Let's talk about him. And next, I think we're going to do the Alex Toussaint Lil Jon ride sometime soon. I just try it all. She's actually in better spin shape than I was when I started. I had to start with the beginner classes, and she can kind of go into it a little harder. But just try it all. See what you like. If you're not sure what you like, tell me, and I will pick something out for you. I enjoy doing that.
Oh, I've sensed a new article. I feel like
Lindsey picks Peloton rides.
Classes, not just rides.
I did the whole 80s series with Sam. Oh, I think that's good for anyone my age. I always tell that. Because I always think of Sam as being like just my generation. He has all the same childhood references I do.
Yeah, I like that he has a little bit of the nerdiness side, especially because he's also so deep. Like he does he has the past Buddhist monk side of him, right?
Yep.
But then he still is playful and has all of these like fun childhood memories that he brings out in his classes. And also, like you said, he's just so darn kind. Like he's just so nice. Yeah. And I think he is hugely underrated as an instructor. Like I think people need to try him more. I think that he does not get the
attention.
Yes, like the coverage that he deserves. So I was so happy that you did write that article about his amazing accomplishment, and it was really cool.
It was so exciting. And I like the nerdy side too. I don't know if you know this about me. I'm a huge sci-fi nerd. I cosplay at conventions. I'm more Star Trek than Star Wars, but that is something I feel Sam and I have in common as well.
Yeah, he loves his nerd stuff. I know when we were at PSL, I was wearing a hoodie, and so I have a lot of like T-shirts and stuff that are pop culture related, but they don't scream at you that they're pop culture related.
You kind of have to know the inside joke behind it,
right? And so, like right now, I'm wearing a shirt that says "Latte Larry's" on it, right? Like, and it's from Curb Your Enthusiasm, but it doesn't say Curb Your Enthusiasm or have a picture of Larry David on it or anything. I was wearing a hoodie that said Wayne Tech on it, which is the company that Bruce Wayne owns in Batman, and he like sees me from across the room, and he's like,
"Oh, that's awesome!"
And he's like, "Oh, I love that hoodie."
Yeah,
like,
he was like, "I clocked that the second you walked in." That's just
I actually own a lot of stuff kind of like that as well.
Do you? That's awesome.
I get you, Tom.
Yeah, like I will not buy a shirt. Like they have all these Jaws shirts that's like "Welcome to Amityville," and I won't buy them because then at the bottom there's a Jaws logo, and I was like, no. Don't spoon feed it to people. Like it either is a shirt from,
I will forget what
You're in universe.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Like if I don't want a Dunder Mifflin shirt that then also says The Office on it.
The Office.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's funny because we go places all the time and he's constantly wearing different shirts, and I will forget what he's wearing, and then somebody will just like start pointing and laughing.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, "I love your shirt." I'm really glad they add that part because I never know why people are pointing and laughing. Like, I'm like, what is happening? He gets that a lot. So I think he tries to see how many people he can bring into his world with his shirts.
I like to see which shirts get the reactions.
He does. It's
my mouse
funny.
Rat hoodie does very well.
That is, I'd say that's your top shirt.
Yeah.
Your top shirt.
And then much to my surprise, number 2 is I think I have a shirt that says McDowell's on it and has the McDowell from Coming to America. And and like people like lose their minds.
I bet
over the
people love
McDowell
that.
shirts. Yeah, it's crazy.
Which if I saw him wearing it, my brain would just think it was McDonald's. Like, I mean, I know I see him wearing it, but like if I saw him and I didn't know.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's the golden arches and the golden arcs.
It's true. It's true. I just don't know that I would see
Mac.
it.
I would understand it. I swear.
Well, Lindsey, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us on your birthday, no less.
Yes.
And before we go, let everybody know where they can find you. I'm assuming you're okay with being found. I'm
fine with being found. I already write for your blog. Pretty much much just Unicorn Lindsey everywhere. If you like to look at lots and lots of pictures of salads, Unicorn Lindsey on Instagram, I take pictures of my salads almost every day. So there's a lot of green. You also get some of like my cute dogs, and once in a while, like me sitting on the rower or something like that. So
Good content.
that's where you can see a lot of salad. I usually write what's in them so I can teach people about it. My career as a salad influencer has not yet taken off. I'm working on it.
You need to.
I have not figured out how to monetize this.
You need to talk to the producers of the kale that you buy, and you need to do a collaboration, and then it's going to just take off just like that.
I actually researched once like who sponsors the kale industry, and there's a whole crazy story about the fact that kale became popular. So kale was mostly just a decoration on Wendy's salad bars for many years. It became popular because of this woman in marketing whose name is Oberon Sinclair, who almost as a prank decided to see if she could make kale popular. As a marketing stunt, I'm not even kidding. Go look this up. I follow her on Instagram. And she went out and she created a reputation for kale, which is a good thing because kale is literally like the most healthy thing in the world. It's got protein in it. It has like 8 million vitamins and fiber. It goes with everything. It lasts forever, lasts way longer than lettuce. And it's cheap.
Yeah. Well,
so see, I feel very passionate about
I feel like you should become.
Kale some marketing stuff, but I cannot get them to sponsor me. Yeah. Maybe they'll stay. Maybe they'll hear me on this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm here.
I'm sure we have a lot of kale influencing people listening to the podcast. So I'm sure that'll.
Know.
You never know. Indeed. You never know.
Could be.
Well, thank you again.
Kale sponsorship.
Well, thank you again for your time, Lindsey. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. It was good seeing y'all.
It was good to see you too.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next week, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can find me on all the socials and the Peloton leaderboard at Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And of course, don't forget the Patreon. It's super helpful to the show. A lot of costs involved in this, and that helps out. And it's just $5 a month. You get all sorts of bonus content, which we're about to record.
Yes, we are.
And you'll get these ad-free, and
you get them first.
Yeah, you get them first. So anyway, there's all that. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep pedaling.
And running.
And rowing.
Bye.